You're about to listen to Whiskey Hell Podcast, a show centered on recent news, excellent craft beer, and absolute debauchery. While the guys are getting ready, you can reach them on Twitter at whiskey_hell. You can also go to the whiskeyhellpod.com or email them at whiskeyhellpod@gmail.com. At the end, be sure to drop them a review as a thank you for the content. Looks like they're ready. Enjoy the show, and listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Whiskey Hell Podcast. This is your week in review. I'm Steve McShane.
Yep, and I'm Fitz.
And we had a wild week. We've got plenty of content for you. We've got some politics. We've got some tech. We've got some really stupid shit to get to. And we've even got some cool shit at the very end.
I mean, if we're being honest, dude, it's all really stupid shit. And yet, the world keeps ticking on. We had some elections this week. We had midterm elections this week, which in a lot of places made for record turnout, which is encouraging, I guess. I guess that means our semblance of a democracy / republic is working to some degree.
Something like that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we had a lot of election news. Nearly as interesting as what we thought it was going to end up being.
No.
But maybe that's okay. I mean, this was a different one. I mean, you never know.
You don't know. And what was most interesting to me, and we'll get more into this, as the show goes on here, but what was most interesting to me is how pre-election the Democrats were already setting us up for, be ready. There's going to be a lot of voter fraud and there's a lot of nefarious stuff going on. And, we're already just seeing some bad stuff. And then there wasn't this major red wave that everybody was thinking was going to happen.
No.
The Democrats actually won more than they thought they were going to. And now all those, whispers of the election was fraud and it was rigged, all those faded away because what do you know? They won more than they thought they were going to. So, oh no, this election was legit. This one was legit. This one's okay.
This was fine.
Yeah.
There was no problems here.
Crazy.
Yes. All right. So we had a lot of election news there. We've got some science we want to get into. You found a gem on climate models that I'm going to be honest with you. You're going to have to really bring it down a level for me to work through it. But it looked really, really interesting. So I'm eager to get into that one too.
Yep.
I've really, really curious what your thoughts are about playing a VR game that will actually kill you if you die in the game. So we've got to get into that.
I love that story. I really do. I can't wait to get to that one.
Yeah, it's between that and all the Twitter shenanigans this week. We've got a crypto crash. We've got a guy who jerked off on a plane. There was a handgun and a chicken, and an Aussie chick that got busted for trying. Well, we'll get into that, but it includes a butt plug and her ex-boyfriend. So,
and not only her. Hold on, you're leaving out the headline there. It's her ex-boyfriend's ashes. That's what makes that story so amazing.
I'm actually in love with her, by the way.
Yeah, no, she's lovable.
Yeah,
I'll just say that.
In so many ways.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, let's go and get to our beers. What are you drinking, Fitz?
Dude, okay, so you might have heard me. I just cracked this one open.
I did.
And I'm hold on a second. Is this too cold? Or is it really supposed to be this thick?
Well, usually they shrink up when they're cold.
What the fuck? It doesn't say anywhere on the can that you should shake it before you pour it out. But this stuff is coming out. I'm basically trying to get applesauce out of this can right now.
God.
This is some wacky shit.
Is it a shake?
It's I guess so. It's a smoothie sour.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Okay. So I went.
You want time to go get a spoon?
I might have to cut this can open. Well, okay. So I went to my favorite brewery here in town.
Okay.
Hey, whoa. We have a Hefe sighting.
How are you back already?
Yeah, this wasn't that just like 20 minutes ago you had a break?
Well, I call it testicular cancer. It's the one ball.
Aha. The old testicular cancer.
Well, welcome. You can interview our beers.
All right. Yeah, it's just a weird, quirky thing where they're opening tables at 8:00, and I just got on a table that's the end of a 3-ball, but just did the last part of it. So here I am, 20 minutes later, another break, a well-deserved break, might say.
I think you worked really, really hard, and I want to thank Gretchen for making you available.
Well, I'm going into a 4-ball, so it's going to be an hour and 20 after I leave. So I'll be catching you guys at the end part of the show. All
right, so you're catching us sober, and then you'll catch us not.
Right, the two extremes.
Yeah. So what might be fun and interesting is if like this is a 1, because I did have one beer before the show. I pre-gamed one beer, but it's like a 5.5% or so. So if this is like a 1 or a 2, it'd be interesting to see what you rate us towards the end of the show as far as, sobriety. One being the most sober and 10 being the least sober.
We had a I don't know if I should talk about this, but we had an employee here get let go yesterday for drinking.
Like drinking on the job, or showed up wasted?
Showed up wasted.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I don't know what's worse. I don't know what's like, is it worse? Like, does it say more about a job that you have to drink a bunch just to get there? Or does it say more about a job that you hate your job so much you're drinking while you're there? Which is worse?
I think the latter.
Well, it'd be a lot harder to drink while you're well, I don't know.
You're sitting there with a cocktail. You're sucking a.
Well, you have to bring like a thermos with like little vodka in it or something like that.
No, you wouldn't, guys. You're missing. You're missing. No, there's those suppository things that you can stick up your bunghole, and then you just squeeze the bag every once in a while, and you absorb the alcohol through your digestive tract.
What?
Yeah, Steve, that's those things after you go fuck a peach or something, you go and stick alcohol up your ass.
Hey,
this is in the know here.
Hey, I resemble that remark. I'll have you know I had sex with 4 pieces of food today. No, just kidding. I did not.
Like a full course meal there.
Where are we going with this?
Oh, we're not. We're not.
We're going to make this a cooking show.
Yeah, we should. What to do with a ham when you're Randy.
And just have like you and me doing like the show, like talking about the ham, and you see Fitz in the background banging something.
Just glazing the ham. Yes.
I put into, and mind you, this is DuckDuckGo. So I didn't just Google. I went to DuckDuckGo and I put in suppository for alcohol. Oh my God. And the stuff that came up is pretty amazing. First, you got suppositories that are sold at Walmart. So it's paid advertisement from Walmart. Apparently that's a big seller there.
We lasted.
And the very next one is alcoholism resources. So basically, if you're putting alcohol up your rectum, you might have a problem. I would say if you put anything up your rectum, you may have a problem with whatever that thing is.
Well, wait, what? Oh, if you're okay,
Hold on.
You're using a device.
Yeah, here we
Okay.
go. Alcohol enema. An alcohol enema is also known colloquially as butt chugging or boofing. I am
Yeah, that's what what's his name? The Supreme Court judge.
okay.
You remember him?
Yes. So you've heard of this. You've heard of boofing.
Yeah, he was talking about boofing.
Yeah. So it's a thing. It's a thing. And you could definitely do that standing at a table dealing. You could have something up your rectum and then just every once in a while, like have it under your armpit or whatever, and just kind of squeeze your, squeeze your arm to get a shot.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I'm just saying it's possible. Rectum nearly killed him.
Hardly knew him.
Hardly knew him. Anyway, I don't know where we're going with this, other than this might be one of the best starts to the show ever.
Oh yeah, we've never gone off the rails in 10 minutes. This is a new record for us.
That's what Hefe does,
This is what Hefe does. Yes. Bring
well,
we were absolute.
I mean, McShane, to be fair, we were already heading off the rails because I was pouring applesauce out of my beer can.
Out of your can. How's that going?
It's going fabulously. I got everything out of the can, although, to describe my my area here, I kind of made a mess. Again, right.
What was the name of the brewery? Was it Oakshire?
Oh yeah, I went to Oakshire. You bet.
Okay, all right.
Yep. And
what kind of a mess do you have in front of you now?
Okay, well, so the mess is a pumpkin apple pie smoothie sour ale. So it's got pumpkin puree, apple puree, or puree, I guess, and apple pie spices, vanilla beans, and marshmallow creme. So it literally poured out of the can like kind of runny applesauce, like the really cheap stuff that you give to kids. But that being said, this is an amazing beer. So all of those things I just described, you get all of those flavors in this thing. Definite mouthgasm that I just had here. Really tasty, heavy on the apple. The pumpkin's in there too, but mostly apple pie, which of course, as we discussed last week, only makes me horny. So I'm enjoying this beer. You might say on both ends. It's wonderful.
I got your marshmallow creme right here.
I know you do, Hefe. I know you're always good for a little marshmallow creme.
Oh, yeah. All right. So what was the name of it again? I'm sorry.
Oh,
apple pie.
It's one of their theme from the bottom, and it's pumpkin apple pie smoothie sour. Theme from the bottom. It's their whole. That's one of the series that they're doing now.
Wow.
And it's only a 5%er, so it's
Is it a real sour or no?
It's not real sour. It definitely tastes like they used Granny Smith apples for the apple pie, so you get a little tart in there, but not. No, it's not like a make your mouth pucker sour at all. It's really, really smooth, really thick, and quite delicious.
Oh, good. All right.
Yep.
I am actually drinking a Shot in the Arm from Fate Brewing. Haven't had this one in a can. I think the last time I had it, you were actually in town, so I think that was last spring, maybe.
Yeah.
Great Imperial Stout. Not real super boozy. I was looking for something a little bit more boozy than this, but it's a pretty mellow barrel. So I like it. There's no doubt about that. But I wanted something a little bit heavier. That's okay.
Well, all right. I can dig it. Oh, and what kind of beer is it?
It's an Imperial Stout. Barrel
Imperial.
aged.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then again, it's a 13%er, so I'm full disclosure, I'm rolling heavy tonight. I could not get drunk all week. I could not drink all week, so I'm doing it now. But yeah, it's an Imperial, so.
Yeah. Well, I think Hefe is going to have a real treat when he comes back on here later. Hefe, what are you drinking tonight?
I had some water before work.
Are you at the shooting range? I keep hearing gunshots.
There's some guy unloading a dolly back here.
Well, tell that dude to stop.
Hey, we're doing a podcast over here.
What a fucking idiot. No, I'm sure he's a very hardworking gentleman, and he needs to keep doing his job. I get it. I
think you're going to have opportunities to actually interview people on the loading dock.
Could be, yeah.
We need to come up with some good questions. Like, all right, rapid fire. Give me your top 3 sex toys. Go.
I'm on the clock, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, clock, schmock. Cock, smock.
Yeah.
Flock.
Jock.
I mean, who needs a job?
They're overrated, right?
I mean, they really are.
So overrated. They're dumb.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I pressed record tonight, though. We're doing good. We're doing well.
Well, that's one for the good guys right there.
How much time you got, Hefe?
I got like 3 minutes.
All right, we're gonna try and save the ex-boyfriend butt plug story for the next time you come back.
That's a good call.
I want everybody to think through: is there an ex-girlfriend that you would like to entomb in a sex toy to use later?
Yes. Oh wait, was I supposed to? I answered that really quickly, didn't I?
It was a little quick. That's okay though. You're eager, and I appreciate that.
Eager beaver.
I mean, the thought of someone's ashes, just being inside of me.
That's a little different.
Yeah.
I'm just going to let that one awkwardly hang.
That is really not loose ashes. It wasn't a butt plug though, right? It was like sealed.
I mean, that's how I understood the story also. I mean, we're going to get to it, but yeah, and am I the only one here, or is she just like stupendously adorable?
Oh yeah, and she's 6'2", 180 pounds.
What?
See, that's way too tall for me, though. I can't do that tall.
That's okay. Yeah, I'll volunteer.
All right. I like that. I like her for you, McShane. Okay. I like her for you. She's, yeah.
Yeah, take her.
All right, I'm gonna work on that.
Hefe, what's your ideal height in a woman?
In a woman?
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna go. How tall are you, Kat? 5'6". 5'6".
Yes.
That was so well done.
Well done.
Smooth. Folks, you just saw Hefe in action. That's how we do it. That's how we do it.
But I'm more of a. I mean, you had to make me, pigeonhole me like that. One thing, it'd be probably 5'5", 5'6", but I'm more of like a 5'2" to 5'7" range.
Yeah. I would say I'm, yes, my height or shorter to about 5 foot, and then it gets weird. For me, I'm just saying it gets weird for me.
Shane is like 3'6", 3'7".
I mean, everybody has their thing. That's just not mine.
It's his. Hey, Shane, you there?
Did we lose McShane?
You might have lost
here.
him.
I'm here. I'm just listening to.
Oh,
you're abstaining.
This epic. I am just listening to this epic banter. I didn't hear a question. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Your ideal height for a woman is like 3'6".
Oh, for me? No. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I just want one I can put in my pocket. Probably, below 5'7" too short. I found fun, but I'm just afraid I'm gonna break you. Taller for me is better, and
I'm gonna go do some work.
Oh, whatever.
All right, man.
You just cut me off.
Go shake that money maker.
All right.
Sorry.
Go boofing.
Butt chug all night. Later.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was an awkward start to the show. That was painfully awkward.
You know what? Our listeners are it's going to be like whiplash, because we had a really professional start. Then we started into our beers, and then Hefe came on, and it went where Hefe takes us.
Right.
He's the magician, and
now he's definitely the oil that lubricates the show. It just was an awkward start.
All right. Glad Hefe was able to go ahead and join us for a little bit. We're going to go ahead and get to the news next. So hang around for just a moment. Here are our sponsors. All right, let's do this. Here's Sean Penn.
Sean Penn.
This is for you.
Oh, Sean.
Yes.
No.
Please.
That is yours.
No, I feel terrible outside. It's just a symbolic, silly thing.
Yes, but
if I know this is here with you, then I'll feel better and stronger for the fight.
So great to honor, but until we will.
When you win, bring it back to Malibu.
Great.
Yes.
Great. Okay.
Because I'll feel much better knowing there's a piece of me here.
We have to be.
So fucking beautiful. Such a touching, heartwarming moment. Sean Penn, the actor, just giving his Oscar to Zelensky.
And I don't know if any of these morons really thought through what the symbology is there. Like Sean, you got that because you were really good at acting in a movie, and now you're giving it to somebody who's acting in a production, a Hollywood production of a war. He's not really a president. He's not really a wartime president. He's just acting. He's just an implant, and you just gave him your best actor award. Did nobody thought through this? Like what message this is sending? Really?
Well, watch now. You guys can check this out in show notes. But right here is this guy. Did you see one of his handlers? I'm gonna rewind it back here. You're right. You see Zelensky's buddy. You know this is going through his head. You know that's what's going through his head. I can't believe this is fucking happening.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yep.
This is actually happening. And there's a camera crew capturing this heartwarming moment. And it's the most awkward, ridiculous thing you've ever seen. And then Zelensky goes over and puts his Oscar. He gives some kind of Medal of Bravery to Zelensky. Let's listen to this.
You mean to Sean Penn?
To Sean Penn.
Yeah.
It's not from me. It's from Ukraine. And it's more
Then we've got this incredibly shitty music bed that's way too loud.
Yeah.
You can't hear them talk.
Why is the music there? And why is Zelensky a president wearing a fucking hoodie?
That's actually
what is going on.
That is all he wears. He does not have
the green fucking t-shirt and a hoodie now because it must be cold there.
Yes, He's very professional. He's a president.
Fucking idiot.
In his war-torn country.
Clowns. They're clowns.
Hey, Putin. He was offered a truce today or yesterday. Did you see that? Surrendering.
I did see that. And what were the terms of this surrender?
I don't know. They didn't disclose what the terms were, but I just like that it happened like right after the election, the midterm election was done.
Well, so one of the terms was, we meaning the West, which I don't include myself, but I'm just going to use the vernacular we won't press charges. We won't charge, press for war crimes on the shit that, Russian troops may or may not have done. There's plenty of reports out there of Ukrainian troops being the ones that were doing all those atrocities to their own people and then blaming it on the Russians. But whatever, we're not going to press charges. If you completely vacate Ukraine and the Donbass region, we will give you Crimea, which will be a demilitarized zone. So no military equipment allowed on it, but you'll get to keep it. And then no harm, no foul. And we just all move on with our lives. And what do you think Putin's answer was to that? And by the way, I know we discussed this on the show briefly last week, but that opening volley, that he did from February until, about a month ago when things kind of calmed down, that was just him softening up Ukraine. That was him getting Ukraine to show their hand. That wasn't him sending in his best troops. That wasn't him sending in his special forces or even any of his modern day equipment. That was him getting rid of all of his old shit that he didn't want to mothball anymore. The next attack, if it comes, then you'll get to see what Russia's military is capable of.
Yeah, we'll see. We talked about this months and months and months ago. This is just a way for everybody to get rid of, all their old arms. And they can go out and buy new ones and test other stuff. So,
right.
And a great way to launder money for us. So, and that's unfortunate because there's a lot of people dying, which is that's actually the atrocity of it.
No, and I don't mean to make light of war. I definitely, that's not what I'm, but it is all kind of a joke when, as McShane said, everyday people are losing their lives so that these idiots can play, chess on the world stage, and sacrifice a few pawns here and there just to see what the opponent will do. I mean, that's people, and homes and businesses and economies. And I guess we're just here to report it, and add our commentary. But at the end of the day, guys, all war is bad. It's sad and it's terrible. And it's going to continue to happen for what? I mean, so someone can say, I told you so, or, hey, give me back that piece of land that was mine. Crazy.
I just thought it was interesting that the terms came out right after the midterms were.
Oh yeah, right.
That was my big huh? Really?
No, 100%. I mean, right on cue, like you said, right on cue.
Overall, the election, the 2022 midterms was really, really boring. Not a lot took place that was even really worth talking about too much of. We did see some delayed results. We saw some weird shit happen in Maricopa County in Arizona, but there wasn't, like you were saying in the opening, there wasn't anything to write home about as far as, the election fraud, at least.
No.
There wasn't anything reported, not like what we got in 2020, at least.
Right. Well, and not what we were led to believe was going to happen this year. The Democrats are really fired up and ready to take this thing all the way to the Supreme Court. And then they ended up not losing as much as they thought they were going to. And they're like, okay, shh, quiet. Everything's cool.
Everything is okay. I wonder if all of that disinformation had anything to do with Republicans not going out as much.
I don't know.
Point if you're already disillusioned, right?
Right. 100%.
Well, I didn't go out. We already covered this last week. We held a spaces, so we were dedicated to talking it through, and thank you to everybody who showed up for it. That really was cool.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like we didn't vote in it. We thought it was a sham. It kind of ended up being obviously boring. We now have a pretty much a balanced. Let me see. I need to look at this because I think the Democrats got the Senate today. And I think
did they?
I think they got the Senate today because there was a Nevada, and we're recording Saturday night on November 12th. So this information is as of then. But I'm pretty sure that they did get. The Republicans have the House right now, 204 to 211, and the Democrats have the Senate by 2 now because they picked up a Nevada today. Which, whatever. They didn't do anything with the House, with the Senate before, so I don't expect them to do anything with it this time either. The most bizarre thing that I think happened, honestly, was Georgia. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Raphael Warnock, 49.4%. Herschel Walker, 48.5%. So there's going to be a runoff there. And how Herschel Walker is still in the running, I don't understand.
I really don't either. I am still trying to figure out as you listen to this person talk, and same goes for Fetterman in Pennsylvania, who also won. You listen to this person talk, and as they're saying, as you're listening to the words coming out of their mouth, you're in your head, you're going, yeah, that's exactly who I want to represent me. Someone who is, in Fetterman's case, and I'm not making fun of him. I'm just stating the facts here. Who is a stroke victim and whose thoughts don't come to him very clearly and who can't speak very clearly. But that's who I want to represent me. Someone who might make a mistake in stuff that he says, and it might sway a vote one way or the other. That's who I want to represent me. And then in Herschel Walker's case, I mean, in just about any other venue, McShane, the guy sounds crazy. He sounds certifiably insane at times.
He's a lunatic. And today, let me find the quote from him today. His quote today was fantastic.
I love the United States of America. If I do not win that seat, we may not recognize America as soon as they get back in control because they seem not to like America. I want America to be great. I want every kid in America to have that America's dream. Well, I can tell you right now, if I don't win that seat, no other America will ever have that America dream again. I love the United States of America.
No American will ever have that dream unless he's in the office.
And that the Democrats were, talking that way before the election that, if you don't vote Democrat, then our democracy is broken. That's basically was the message from Biden. Remember that?
Yeah.
He's like, if you vote the Republicans in, voting will be dead, which is like the most undemocratic thing in the planet to say. I mean, I don't know if people realize how that's an oxymoron to say that if you don't vote for this one party, then all democracy is gone. Well, the whole point of democracy is you get to vote for who you want to vote for.
That's
and
how
now
it should work.
Here's Herschel out here saying the same thing, that if you don't vote for me, if I lose, everyone's fucked. We're all democracy everywhere is dead. What are you talking about?
Well, it's not totally dead because we banned slavery in Tennessee.
Yeah,
and a dead guy won a house spot in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, he did. So the slavery thing, first of all, let's tackle that. So we had the same, and I don't know if Tennessee's the same. I'm just going to talk from an Oregon point of view. We had a measure on the ballot. I believe it was 113. That took out the language of slavery from our state constitution, that you couldn't put someone into slavery as punishment for a crime. And of course it passed here in Oregon as well, but that actual word slavery was in our state constitution. Now, not to get too deep into it, but after the Civil War, when the Southerners lost, where do you think they all went? Why do you think there's something called the Oregon Trail? They all came out west and they all settled up here in Oregon in the Pacific Northwest. So there's a lot of white supremacy up here. So I understand why the word slavery was put into the Constitution way back when. And I'm glad it's not there anymore. But I don't know if Tennessee's was written the same way, that it was just sort of attached to and concerning punishment, or if it was actually still on the books that it was legal to own slaves. I mean, I don't know.
It pertained to forced labor in prisons.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the same things here in Oregon. Same thing. And a couple other states. Wasn't there a couple other states that had the same thing going on?
There was. I think it was Tennessee, Alabama, Vermont, and Oregon have officially banned slavery. The state of Louisiana rejected the notion that banned slavery is criminal punishment.
And I mean,
well,
I don't know. The way it's written now is that you can still require someone to do community service or to do work in prison, but it has to be towards the goal of reforming the prisoner, of reforming the person. It can't just be, well, we're just going to have you go out there and break rocks. That's not reforming anybody. But if you actually are contributing to society, then we can make you do it. So it's a semantic debate at this point, but it did happen here in Oregon also. So it wasn't just Tennessee, but it's crazy that it's 2022 and that's what we're talking about is slavery.
It's bizarre. And it's bizarre, and I'll say I'm naive then, because I was absolutely shocked that was even a thing, and I get the prison perspective, especially with all the corporate prisons that are out there.
Of course,
and I would question, I would like to look up and see how many corporate prisons that Louisiana has. Maybe that's a big thing for them. Tennessee, there was an 80% to 20% vote for. So that was interesting also.
Yeah.
I don't know what your percentages were up in Oregon.
It was not even that wide of a margin. I believe it was like 69 to 31. Which is concerning, because that means there's 31% of people out there who voted who think that it's okay to have that word in our state constitution. I mean,
it's not
what?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania state lawmaker Tony DeLuca reelected despite dying last month. How is he even on the fucking ballot? Honestly.
I guess you print millions of these things and it costs too much to reprint them. I don't know. But okay, fine. Then that's your scenario. You've already printed them and you don't want to spend the money to reprint them. Then hire somebody with a fucking black Sharpie and get his name off of there. I don't. How hard is that? Or make put out a public service announcement.
Or make it automatically roll to the next person. Okay.
Yep.
You're posthumously awarded the House spot. You don't get it. We're awarding it to the next person. You will put you down on the records that you won the vote, but it's going to go to the next person. But they're not going to do that because that person's with the Green Party.
Right. Now, McShane, I have another question for you. Do you think, and this is a serious question, even though I'm going to struggle to keep a straight face when I ask it.
Sure.
Do you think that Pennsylvanians were just punking everyone and being like, I'm going to vote for the dead guy? Or do you think that they're that fucking dumb that they didn't realize he was dead?
Oh, I think they voted for him on purpose. I think I think they I don't think it mattered. I think he was the Democrat on the ballot because it's a deep, this is an Allegheny County district, which is a super deep blue area. This is like Joe's back, it's like his backyard. So I'm sure that's why they did it, so that they weren't going to give it up to anybody else. And I'm sure this Zara Livingston is not going to have any kind of a crack at the spot. But
can you imagine how that made her feel?
Oh, fuck, yeah.
I mean, I lost terrible. To a dead guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Go walk into the ocean. That's what you do at that point.
Right, exactly. Go kick rocks. You're worthless.
That sucks. That's not what democracy is about.
Mm-mm.
Why he shouldn't have been on the ballot. And honestly, if she was the only one on there, she should have won.
Yep.
God forbid the Green Party gets somebody in there.
Yeah. Boy, that could really be disruptive.
Have you done VR before?
Once, yes.
Okay. So when you sat down to play or stood up to play, however you were playing it, what was it, like a combat game at all?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. So did you die right away?
Not right away, but it didn't take long. I think I lasted like 3 minutes, and then I was kind of camping, and someone came up behind me and shot me in the head.
Okay. So we have a new video game, a new VR game that's being worked on by the creator of Oculus Rift. Okay, this is the Oculus that everybody has. So it's now owned by Meta, and I have one here. My boys play with it, and it's fun. Well, if you die, they're working on a game that if you die in the game, it has what amounts to compression cartridges. The way I kind of viewed it was kind of how you slaughter a cow, right?
Uh-huh. Yep.
That kind of that compression gun it's like a bolt gun.
Yep.
Sorry, that was graphic for anybody out there who's imagining a cow being slaughtered now. Well, think about it in a happier tense where it's a person having that put on their head, and if you die in the game, you die in real life. That's the VR that's being worked on by Palmer Luckey.
All right. So 2 questions. First one is obvious. Why?
It's the ultimate.
It is life. I mean, is real life that boring now that we have to challenge ourselves in a fake environment where we might die, as opposed to, I don't know, just jumping out in the middle of traffic and playing Frogger? I mean, what? Why?
Why? Because it's the ultimate. It's the ultimate risk. I mean, it's the ultimate game. It's like being able to play Russian roulette, only you're putting your skills versus somebody.
Well, yeah, but for a fucking video game? A video game. People used to die to win the heart of a princess, or to, I don't know, save their country from tyranny. But these fucksticks, they have nothing in their lives that's worth saving, so they're just going to go play a fucking video game and then die in it. How do you want your tombstone to read? Here lies Fuckstick McGee, who died in a video game. Like, what? Really?
Well,
really?
you've got to put their gamer tag up on the tombstone first of all.
Yeah, Fuckstick McGee. I did.
Fuckstick McGee, and here lies Fuckstick McGee, gamer true and true. 2000 to 2022. That almost rhymed. That's pretty good.
Right, that was good. Well done. I mean, I guess we all end up worm food anyway, as much as we don't want to think about that. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter how you die in the end. I mean, 1,000 years from now, no one's going to know who I was or how I died. But right now, I know how these idiots are going to die, and it just seems stupid. I mean, this is like the ultimate finger to human life. Like, this is how worthless we see ourselves, is that we're willing to die playing a video game.
Meat sack.
Yeah.
Palmer Luckey, defense contractor. Let me say that again. Defense contractor. And the father of modern virtual reality has created a VR headset that will kill the user if they die in the game they're playing. He did this to commemorate the anime Sword Art Online. Luckey is the founder of Oculus, a company he sold to Facebook in 2014 for $2 billion. This is the technology that Mark Zuckerberg rebranded as the foundation for Meta, which they got their ass handed to them in the last couple of weeks. Ooh, yep. Daddy.
Yep, which I love to see.
Luckey's killer headset looks like a Meta Quest Pro hooked up with 3 explosive charge modules that sit above the screen. The charges are aimed directly at the user's forebrain, and should they go off, would obliterate the head of the user. The idea of tying your life to your virtual avatar has always fascinated me. You instantly raise the stakes to the maximum level and force people to fundamentally rethink how they interact with the virtual world and the players inside it, Lucky wrote in a blog post explaining the project. Pumped up graphics might make a game look more real, but only the threat of serious consequences can make a game feel real to you and every other person in the game. This is a Vice.com article. You guys can go and check it out in show notes. How you cannot tell me that there will not be somebody who the first thing they do is, I'm going to be a virtual serial killer. That's where my head went. As soon as I read this, I'm like, oh, that's what's going to happen.
I mean, this is like the ultimate, to me, it's the ultimate statement about our society and how worthless we all feel. You go back 100 years and at least a farmer was waking up every day and he was going out and he was growing and processing and making food for people. So he had purpose to his life. And his kids went to school because, by God, I'm not going to be like my dad. I'm going to go get an education and I'm going to make something of myself. And they had purpose and meaning in their lives. And we've gotten to a state now where nobody's lives mean anything. So we might as well put them on the line for a video game because we want VR to feel more real. That's basically what this guy is saying, is that real life isn't real enough. We want the video game life to feel real. What a statement. I mean,
it's an incredible statement. It's an incredible statement.
Yeah. Where are the great poets of our time to commemorate this and to really put into some really meaningful words how ridiculously obtuse and abstract this has gotten?
Lucky said,
yeah, go ahead.
Lucky said that he used 3 explosive charges he usually uses for a different project. Lucky didn't specify which project, but he is also the founder of Odril, a weapons and defense contractor, which has won massive contracts with the government and that is already developing loitering munitions, anti-drone tech for U.S. Special Forces, and underwater drones. This dude is evil genius type shit. This guy is scary.
Yeah, he's Dr. Evil, but without the mini-me.
And this is all built. Have you ever watched the anime Sword Art Online?
No.
It's interesting. It's interesting. I actually got a little bored by it. I tried to watch it with my youngest, Maddox, and I just got kind of bored by it. But
yeah,
it does cross over a great deal. But if you think about it, we've had some really interesting crossovers before. We've had Ready Player One, which I liked that interface because it was, I mean, it was you were surrounded by your you were surrounded by the virtual reality, and you could feel it, you could touch it, you could taste it, but you weren't, if you died, you started over, right? It was like a game.
All your gear.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like the Matrix type shit. I mean, this is where we're going, and I just, the Matrix, to me, the Matrix was a horror flick. I mean, that's like the worst possible scenario, is that we become slaves to the machines,
right?
And why we would want to help the machines along that path with something like this, I don't know. It's kind of insane.
What if the game disconnects while you're playing,
or malfunctions, or I mean,
we've all played Destiny where you've absolutely no idea why you got hit, but you did.
Yeah. Or that, I mean, we've played those games where the graphics, you know, the sword swings and it's like 3 feet away, but it still does damage to you.
Because of the hitbox.
So, what what are we talking about here?
So who comes and picks up the body? And how do they know to come pick up the body?
I guess, I mean, this thing's sophisticated enough. It just probably, after it blows your head off, it probably calls 911 for you.
This guy flatlined.
Yeah.
Hello, 911. Yes.
Flatline protocol.
Yeah. I'm ready for another beer.
I am also. Let's do this. All right. We are about to go grab our second beers. And while we do, enjoy this quick message from a couple of our sponsors.
All right. So I'm going with Oso for my second beer. Now, did I have Cake Eater recently? Do you remember?
I'm gonna assume that's a beer.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. Did I have a Cake Eater? That sounds really really kinky now that I think about it.
I mean, yeah. I remember a Kate Eater, but I don't know about a Cake Eater.
Hello.
Heyo.
So I have
no. I don't think you did. Not on the show. No.
Okay, so Ales from the Crypt, Cake Eater. This is the number 5, May 2022. I had a hard time getting beers this week, and most of it was my problem. It wasn't I couldn't find the beers; it was finding the time to go get the beers, because I'm trying not to make that a focus, right? Because the diet and all that kind of bullshit.
Right.
So I tried to squeeze it in. So I didn't go to any real, place I would really super like to go, I guess. But I went to a solid location. It was one of the gas station craft beer caves, which is these guys are always good. But
yeah,
I didn't get the normal selection I would have gone crazy over, right? Not like last weekend where I had the. I just had it wasn't like last week. So. This is Cake Eater. This is Buffalo Trace Bourbon. It's really hard to read. Buffalo Trace Mash Bill number 2, barrel aged German chocolate cake stout, conditioned on toasted coconut, pecans, and cocoa. This is 16%er.
Holy fucking shit.
And here we go. Oh my God.
Was that the heavy hitter you wanted from the last one?
Yeah. Let me see if I can bring it up here because it's worth looking at it. All right, that's the art.
Oh yeah, okay. What's your a quick sidebar here? What is your opinion of Buffalo Trace bourbon? Have you had it?
I have. It's honestly it's very distinctive. It's a little brash for me. I'm not a big fan of it. It's I like my bourbons more subtle. I don't like to be hit across the face like some of them are, and Buffalo Trace to me it's a little bit of a I'm going to be a bourbon dick. It's a little bit it's kind of a cheap one. So I'm not real super crazy about it. But
yeah,
it works as far as something to barrel in though, because you get the whiskey, you get the bourbon, you get that oak to it. So I think it's good from that perspective, but I wouldn't buy it just to buy it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I equated it the first time I had it. I was like, that's like pouring a bunch of not pouring. taking a bucket of ice water and as hard as you can throwing it against somebody's testicles. Like that's what it felt like to me. Like with ice cubes hitting the testicles also. Like it just really wasn't fun. I just didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think the barrels probably have more, more to offer than just the straight bourbon.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Do this for me though. Remind me and ask me like later how I feel about it as it warms up, because it's a little on the cold side, which is fine, but it's an imperial stout. So as it warms up, it's going to change a little bit. My curiosity is it going to be as sweet as it is now as it warms up? So that's what I'm going to struggle with here. But
yeah,
anyway,
some of those,
that's where I'm going.
Some of those, as they warm up, that chocolate sweetness gets more pronounced.
Yeah, no, it totally does. Or it completely falls out and the bourbon takes over and you hate what you're drinking. So we'll have to see.
And you hate yourself tomorrow too.
That's right. Well, I'm going to hate myself tomorrow anyway. I'm predispositioned for that, so that's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I like where we're going right now though. What do you have over there?
I did. I'm with you. This week was a tough one for finding time to go get my beers for the show, because again, I'm with you. I'm not drinking during the week, not necessarily because of any diet, but just because it affects my workouts. And when I'm not working out, I'm just a dick. I'm just an asshole, and I need to burn off that energy in the mornings. And so, but if I drink the night before, then I wake up in the morning just slow and sluggish and groggy. And then I find a reason not to work out. And I hate that. So, plus I did have some dental surgery this week, which, then put me on painkillers for a couple of days. And then of course those and alcohol definitely don't mix for me. So anyway, going out today, just running errands and whatnot. My wife and I just thought, we haven't been over to Oakshire for a while. So we just swung by and picked up a few 4-packs, one of which was my first beer that I had, the apple pumpkin pie sludge. And this one is another sour from Oakshire. This one's called Sun-Made Fruit Fusion Sour. This one is an orange cranberry. And I'm going the exact opposite. This one also is kind of a session ale. It's only a 4.5%. So I'm going the opposite of what you're doing. You're going heavy hitters, and I'm just kind of taking it easy tonight. I went more for kind of flavors, flavors of the time of year as opposed to some hard hitting beers. I feel like the past few weeks I've gone with some pretty heavy,
Oh, you totally have.
Imperials and stuff. Yeah. So anyway, this one's the cranberry orange. We'll see how we're doing here.
So this is a pilot release, which makes it even more interesting. Sun-Made Fruit Fusion Sour Session Sour Ale.
Oh, wow. Oh, that just turned my mouth into a butthole. Woo!
Wait, what?
Well, so it made me pucker. It made my lips pucker so much.
All right. I was trying to figure out where we're going with this because that's
No, it made my lips sphincter up real hard. I'm pinching one off here. It's pleasurable. It's really on the sour side, which I do like sours. I'm actually a sour guy, both in personality and my beer taste. But I don't know. There's something. Maybe I was expecting a little more orange. This is heavy on the cranberry. I was hoping for a little more orange in there, but it's there. There's a little citrus, just not quite as much as I was hoping for. One of my favorite things on the planet. This is a little known fact about Fitz. One of my favorite things on the planet is a cranberry orange scone. I crave them, and it's like a Achilles heel for me. If we're at like Panera or a local bakery or something and they have an orange cranberry scone, even if I have just eaten and I'm not in the mood at all, I will buy one. I love that flavor combo so much. So maybe I set the bar a little too high for this beer because it's not quite meeting that flavor combo that I really look forward to. But this is a solid beer. It's very good. And it's definitely a session ale. I mean, you could have 5 or 6 of these and still be able to drive home. Again, I'm not giving legal advice here. I'm just saying that you definitely could handle a motor vehicle because it's only a 4.5, so it's very good.
For the fall edition of our Sun-Made Fruit Fusion series, we combine 2 wonderfully festive fruits for the season. Starting with our Sun-Made base soured with our house culture. We ferment the beer with our house yeast strain. After fermentation, we add equal parts orange and cranberry puree, pouring bright with a nose of citrus and jam. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I would not have released this during October. That it came out in October 14th. I would not have
it's a
picked
seasonal. Yeah.
I would not.
Well,
I mean the cranberry makes sense, but not. I don't know.
Well, a lot of people. I mean, like the cranberry relish that will forever live in my family that my mom makes. It has the oranges and the orange zest in there too. Because it's a nice counterbalance to the cranberry. And I will tell you that this second sip that I just took, that's what I'm getting more of. It's not so much the orange meat, but almost like orange zest, like the peel. I'm tasting more of that in this. It's actually, this is very good. I'm gonna enjoy this.
All right. Well, good for us. 2 unique beers. I love it.
Yeah, very good.
Hey, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on Twitter, but I am going to bring this up because they fucked us a little bit.
Well,
I had Twitter Blue, and I don't have it now on the whiskey account. I'm kind of pissy about it.
Yeah, this is actually kind of a big deal, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it either because, quite frankly, there's more interesting things to talk about. But from a cultural phenomenon that Twitter has become, this is a big deal. What's happening right now, and it's this like underground battle between the old guard of Twitter, which I would consider like the woke, like super left, super, shadow ban somebody for saying something that didn't perfectly align with your values, and then everybody else. That's the battle. And it looks like right now, everybody else is losing.
I think everybody else is losing right now. So you have several things that are happening. One, you've got somebody who doesn't know what he's doing. Elon does not know how to control Twitter. He doesn't. He's a user. He's trying to govern as a user, which I don't think that always works. And especially from a technical standpoint, I think he's fucking it up. Yeah.
I mean, doesn't he almost feel like Joe Biden, where sometimes like his handlers want to be like, dude, shut the fuck up. Stop talking. Like, that's kind of where I feel like Elon's at right now. Like, you just want him to shut up.
His money managers want him to shut the fuck up. Yeah. Everybody who's loaned him the money to go ahead and buy Twitter wants him to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people that want him to shut the fuck up. George Soros really wants him to shut the fuck up. And we found this week on dossier.substack.com, which is in show notes, a coordinated attack that's coming from the Soros organization to make sure that there are no advertisers on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I found this just amazing. You talk about dark money. This is just not good. It's not good.
No, and
period.
And the list of companies that have pulled their advertisements from Twitter is long and distinguished. I mean, it's the who's who of sort of woke companies. I mean, you've got the Coca-Colas, Pepsis, IBM, Google, obviously. I mean, you go down the list and you're like, holy shit, these are like some of the top companies in their areas, and they've all pulled their funding from Twitter, and it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
General Mills, Audi, Mondelez, which I think is Nabisco. Nabisco is Oreo, right?
Yes.
Okay. Volkswagen and Pfizer, no less. They're all pausing their Twitter ads. GMC paused their Twitter ads, which let's be clear. If you're pausing your ads, which if I put an ad out, Fitz, on for whiskey, right?
Yeah.
I can, if I'm on Twitter, all I have to do is push a button and say, I'm going to pause it here. I don't want to broadcast it anymore.
Right.
But I can unpause it whenever I feel like it. That's all they've done. Let's keep this into, in perspective.
Yeah.
But I find it amazing that George Soros is actually behind making sure that this is going to be a thing.
And what's I think more alarming and quite honestly sad to me is how many people don't know that George Soros is behind that. That he's at the forefront of leading this campaign. And again, for those of you who don't know, George Soros is the same asshole who was funding the BLM movement, and not the hey, Black Lives Actually Do Matter movement, but the we're going to leave bricks on the side of the road for people to grab so they can throw them through business windows. That BLM arm, Antifa and all of that bullshit. Soros funded all of that. And there's receipts for all of it. It's that same fucking guy. And he's the one leading the charge here against Twitter because it's quote unquote fallen into the wrong hands. What the fuck? I mean, literally we are being run by and influenced by people with more money than us at every turn, on every level of our lives.
So George is a globalist. Let's just go ahead and make sure everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And is there anything about Elon that screams, I really want to be a globalist?
No.
So that happened this week. Just look at, read the dossier. I hate names like that because it even already sounds like it's hokey. But it's actually on Substack. So go to dossier.substack.com.
And Substack's legit. I mean, they're definitely legit. They've got some independent journalists, and they're doing it the right way.
Yeah, and get an account on there so you can actually read the stuff that's actually being put out. These guys, they're verified. They're legit researchers. They're legit lighters. Often these are things that they'll write in addition to what their day job is, stuff that they'll do on the side. So it's all investigated many times. I'm not gonna say it always is because I know it's not, but many times it's really good investigative journalism, which you can't get at a Washington Times, a New York Times, an LA Times, anything that is run by one of the big guys.
Well, yeah, bought and paid for by Soros or Bezos or Bill Gates. You're not going to get independent journalism when, the owners of those papers are these bigwigs with all the money.
Right.
Substack is
skin in the game.
Right. Substack is completely independently owned. They're just out there. And I mean, that, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, for God's sakes, he's out there writing amazing articles. If you haven't read any of his articles on Substack, go out and check them out. He's writing on like sports related stuff, but he's getting into like the bowels, the deep, dark underbelly of professional sports that none of us really want to know about. And yet he's uncovering it. And he's like, look, these athletes they're being paid a lot of money, but they're treated like absolute dog shit. Unless you're a Jordan or a LeBron James, they're treated like dog shit. And he's done some hard hitting reporting too. So anyway, Matt Taibbi, I think I already mentioned him. There's a bunch of really just good hard hitting journalists out there doing what journalists should be doing, which is holding people accountable. So yeah, Substack's definitely worth checking out. I think that's maybe a McShane and my cool shit together kind of thing tonight. That's one of our cool shit.
I like that. That's
yeah.
I'm with you on that. I'm going to show you something here in a second. I'm waiting for Thinkorswim to log in, and I think
let me show you something.
Thank you, Jim Carrey.
Yeah, I was going to say, you remember that guy?
Let me show you something.
Let me show you something.
I think Thinkorswim is actually under. Oh, there we go. All right. So let's go and get into the Eli Lilly business from this week. This was fascinating. We're going to pivot over to FTX in a minute, but I'm going to show you a stock chart in about 30 seconds if this ever goddamn loads. And I want you to tell me what it looks like happened here. All right. We're going to put in LLY.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and I've actually already seen this chart, but I'll just I'll have a blind reaction.
Yeah, just play along. We're gonna do the 5-day, 15-minute chart. Here we go. Why is it not coming over? You son of a bitch. There we go. All right. Come on. There you go, sweetheart. Ignore the lines that I've got drawn on there.
Yeah.
All right. So, what happened on Friday at right before open?
I mean, to me, it looks like some really bad news about the company came out, either financially and or some sort of knowing that this is a pharmaceutical company. Maybe a trial didn't go well, but something went really bad with the company.
So Eli Lilly was at $3.70 for their stock price. As of, we'll say, 2:45 in the morning. It's normal. Stocks go up, stocks go down. Not a big deal. But it's unique because Eli Lilly is a pretty big company.
Oh, they're huge.
So,
and by the way, they are I don't know if they're the only one anymore, but they are definitely the world's #1 producer of insulin. For a while, they were the only producer of insulin in the world, which is why when 9/11 happened, the Eli Lilly plant got surrounded. You would have thought the place was Fort Knox. They put up, the anti-car, grates that come up, the big giant concrete pylons. You had to have military clearance to get in that plant after 9/11 because it was the only place that made insulin. So,
do you know how much the patent was for insulin when I don't remember who it was, but they handed it off to Eli Lilly thinking that they were going to fix the world. Do you remember how much that was?
Oh, it wasn't. I mean, it was a very insignificant amount, like $200 or something.
No, $1. They sold the patent for $1 to Eli Lilly. You know how much a vial of insulin is now?
800, 900.
It's one vial is actually $100 in the U.S. Everywhere else, it's like $5-10. Not a big deal.
Right.
But here it's $100 a vial. So I don't know how long a vial actually lasts. It depends on the individual.
Well, the reason I said 800, 900 is because that friend of mine that's going to be starting her podcast, she pays $800 to $900 a month just for her insulin.
Fuck.
And she has friends over in the UK that pay $20 a month.
You might as well just fly to the UK.
Yep.
Pick up a whole bunch of insulin, come back.
Yep. Be cheaper.
So, not to bury the lead, but on Friday at roughly 7:45, a tweet comes out. That tweet says that Eli Lilly...
The tweet is from a verified Eli Lilly Twitter account.
A verified Eli Lilly account. In fact, it's at Eli Lilly on Twitter.
Yep.
They have a blue check mark. And their first tweet was, insulin is now free. And if we look at the stock price, it's in free fall for the next 2 hours. Billions lost. Billions lost.
It still hasn't returned to its before tweet price, which already tells me then it was artificially inflated to begin with.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. Let's go over to Eli Lilly now.
What a statement. I mean, first of all, that insulin costs that much, that a tweet saying it's now going to be free would make a company tank like that, would make their stock fall like that. Secondly, this is the big fault here. And again, we aren't fans of or critics of Elon. We're just here to report what's going on. But this is the problem.
And truly, we're calling attention to his fuck up.
Yeah, it was a fuck up. This is the problem with just having you pay $8 a month and now you have a verified account. Well, anyone can come along, steal the little Eli Lilly, trademark, their little, branding, slap it on a Twitter. And this was literally, wasn't it this account's first tweet? And nobody went out and went to check and see how many tweets happened before this.
Nobody verified it.
Yeah, nobody verified it. They just were like, oh, blue check mark. Boom. Shit. Insulin's free. That means Eli Lilly stock is tanked. I'm sell. And interestingly, a lot of people don't know this, so maybe we should back up real quick. Many, many stocks right now and mutual funds, and they're all tied to algorithms. It's not even real people making these decisions. What happens is they're tied to these algorithms. So if a computer who owns Eli Lilly in their mutual fund, if it sees that the stock is dropping a little bit, it'll say, okay, instantly sell 1 million shares because we don't want it to go any farther. Well, that algorithm triggers another algorithm from another company and another one. And it's this cascade of algorithms of computers that just blow their whole wad all at once, just sell everything all at once. It's not even people making these decisions anymore. It's based on numbers, and a computer sees a certain number get triggered and boom, it's sell. So this thing spiraled out of control way fast, and there was just nothing anybody could do about it. Even though people knew, okay, this is not a verified account. It has the blue check mark, but just because someone paid $8 for it. And this was false news, fake news, if you will. But it didn't matter. It was already spiraling out of control. Pretty fascinating.
In the third quarter alone, Lilly's insulin products generated more than $878 million in sales. Sales fell more than 20% year over year, however. Lilly noted its Humalog brand insulin underwent price cuts during the quarter. On its website, Lilly offers a program in which insulin will cost $35 per month. So they've got programs. They do have programs that you can get a little bit cheaper, but I find it absolutely fascinating that once you actually broach the subject of free insulin, which at this point in our diabetic nation, in our obese nation, the fact that you would keep something like this locked up, which, I mean, we could talk about the ethics and the morality of that also, the health of that too. There's an argument there also, but it's just beyond me that we'd be charging $100 a vial for anything like that.
Well, yeah. And I mean, does it sound right to you that a company can make $878 million off of something that people need to live?
That originally cost them $1 to buy.
Yeah. That just doesn't sound right to me. It doesn't feel right to me. It actually gives me it makes me go a big rubbery one. Like there's nothing about that's good business, that is smart. It's just being a dick. It's just being predatory. And
it is predatory. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. And yet, here we are. I mean, this is the world we live in. And I'm really actually kind of glad that the stock tanked the way it did. I hope it stays at more reasonable, more reality-based numbers, at a more reality-based level. Because what is it at right now? It started at 370, and that tweet hit, and I think it dropped all the way down to what, 200?
The low was 344, and right now it's 353.
It didn't go down. Yeah, so it needs to probably stay around 350, honestly. And really, I don't even know that it's worth that. Bunch of monsters out there keeping people alive by having them pay them. Crazy.
A blue check Twitter account pretending to be the Arizona Republican gubernatorial candidate Carrie Lake tweeted a fake concession announcement to Democratic challenger Katie Hobbs on Wednesday. Even though the race hasn't been called, the account has since been suspended. And it still has not been called as of tonight, but I'm pretty sure Hobbs is I think she's ahead by like almost 100,000 votes by now.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, one of our friends, and I will not name him here, dated Katie Hobbs.
Oh, really?
Yes. He cannot verify if she has a penis or not, though.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if I would. I don't know if I'd go there either. So this is another one, another fake Twitter account that screwed things up. And then the next one that you're going to talk about is really fascinating to me because this one's like calling out all the big guns.
On Thursday night, a fake Lockheed Martin account with the handle Lockheed Martini and Twitter blue checkmark tweeted the aerospace and weapon maker will stop sales to Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the U.S. until further investigation into their record of human right abuses.
I mean, holy shit. And again, Lockheed Martin's stock started to tank, and then by this time, people are catching on now, and they're going, okay, hold on. We need to not just sell the farm. But still, this is just going to keep happening. And again, not to beat a dead horse, but this is the major problem. And I'm not saying that the old system that Jack had in place back in the day with Twitter was the right answer either. But this is the problem with, a pay-to-play system is that anybody with $8 in their pocket can now have a verified account that can really cause major ripples. I mean, you're throwing a big rock into a small pond. Yeah,
absolutely. And you're jacking with the big boys. Here's another one on Thursday. Another verified account pretending to be British Petroleum tweeted, "Just because we killed the planet doesn't mean we can't miss it."
Wow. I love people. This is one of those times I normally don't really like people in general, but this is one of those times where people's
it's
comedic
beautiful.
Side and vindictive side it's bared in all of its glory, and I love it.
A blue check parody American Israel Public Affairs Committee, which has also been suspended, tweeted, we love apartheid.
Oh my God. Oh, look at the Tesla one. A suspended account spoofing Tesla on Twitter CEO Elon Musk's automotive company with the handle @TeslaReal tweeted, breaking, a second Tesla has hit the World Trade Center. Oh my God. People are funny.
Another parody account pretending to be the banana producer Chiquita tweeted, we have not overthrown a government since 1954. Referencing the U.S.-backed coup in Guatemala, a major banana producer. So I love it. Like you were saying, it's creative. Do you think that that somebody who's being a troll, because that's what it is, should be sued? Because somebody's going to get their ass handed to them. Or is it Twitter's fault? Because you've got that angle too.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, part of me, and again, we're blurring the lines here. Great comedic minds like Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr. Oh God, who was, what's her name? Female comedian. I will think of her name. Have been sort of calling this out and saying, look, the lines between, what's funny and then what's just, public commentary, social commentary, those lines have been blurred for a lot of years, but now I can get in trouble for saying something that's controversial. I can get blacklisted. I can get sued because it's character defamation or whatever. So is somebody just being a comedic asshole here, and just because what they said, even though it was funny, it actually had repercussions to the market. And so should they be financially responsible for that? Or do we just chalk it up to, okay, no, you're a bunch of assholes who didn't actually look to see how many tweets came out before this. You just reacted to Eli Lilly saying that all insulin was free. I mean, there's a certain point at which, like, buyer beware and investor beware. And if you're going to be dumb enough to sell all your shit because you saw a tweet, come on. I don't know. I mean, I'm just asking because I'm not emotionally invested in any of this. I just think it's funny, but some people lost their ass over this, and they're going to want reparations.
I agree. I agree that they're going to want reparations, but here's where I go with it. And I know I'm not on the Supreme Court. I'm not a lawyer. I have not stayed in a Holiday Inn. I'm not that guy. It's a political statement to me. When you're going to call attention to the cost of insulin, which is fucking insane, that's a political statement. If you're going to go as esoteric as overthrowing Guatemala, that's a political statement. I don't have any problem with those being made. I'm also not a shareholder, but I'm also not working for either of those companies.
Right.
But if a person, because it's satire, that's really what we're talking about. I don't have a problem with it. But I also don't have a problem with Dave Chappelle running his mouth and being Dave Chappelle.
Right. I'm totally there with you. I mean, you know I am. I am a defender of free speech, almost to a fault. I mean, I want people out there making fun of, even vulnerable groups, because I think that there's a big assumption. We talked about this last week, but there's a big assumption made that those vulnerable groups, quote unquote, don't have a thick skin and that they can't take it. Yeah. And I'm from the opposite school, where if you don't have a thick skin and you can't take it, then bow the fuck out and go away. Go hide under a rock somewhere. Yeah. Just
or God forbid, get a better argument.
Right. But I mean, I'm with you. And yet, I mean, here's the thing, dude. The only difference between us saying it on Whiskey Hell, hey, insulin's free. The only difference between that and it being on Twitter is the number of people we're reaching. I mean, you and I are reaching a couple hundred people each week with this podcast at this point. I mean, soon to be millions, but right now, a couple hundred people. But on Twitter, you reach literally millions quickly. I mean, the word just spreads. People retweet it and retweet it and retweet it. And then all of a sudden you've got this cascade, but there's no difference. I mean, if you and I say it, it's funny. Ha ha. If the right person tweets it, it's the market crashes. I'm with you. I get it. People are going to be mad, but really there's no difference. When you and I say it, it's satire, but when someone else says it, it's not. No, we have to draw that line and say it is always satire. And it's now on the investor and on the market to control those things, not on what I say. I should not be censored on what I say. If people don't like what I say, if people don't like what you say, then they won't listen to us. That's fine. That's the market, and it's taking care of itself. But if they like what we're saying and we gain popularity, then fuck you for trying to censor us, because people want to hear what we have to say.
It'll be really interesting to see how this whole checkmark business breaks out, because right now it's been fumbled right out of the gate. I understand where he's going with it, and I honestly, I sat in one of his spaces with he was just answering questions straight up from. There was people from GMC in there, Washington Post, Washington Times, New York Times, Audi. There's some big advertisers in there, and this was a spaces, so they had their marketing people actually asking questions about what the process was going to be, what's the intent, how is it supposed to look. I enjoyed it because it was a very raw public forum, which honestly, that's what Twitter should be. It should be a town hall, right?
You're right.
A 24/7 town hall. So I really appreciated the conversation they were having. I came in a little bit at the end, so I didn't get to hear all of it, but I do think Elon's coming at this from a very altruistic genuine perspective. I do.
Innocent.
I think
right?
he's innocent
Yeah.
to a fault. I
Yeah,
think it's
agreed.
innocent. I think
Agreed.
it's like I don't know who's in charge. I think that I don't know that he's the best person to be in charge. I mean, he's said I think it would be good for him to give the guidance. This is what I want. Now go out and execute. That's a sign of a really good leader.
Yeah,
But
he needs to delegate at this point.
Yeah. Right now, I'm hearing things out of that camp like, we're going to go ahead. We're firing as many people as we can fire because I want the excellent people to be here, which is an interesting take until you associate with you're going to have to be ready to go ahead and work in-house. Okay, you're not working remotely, and you're working 80-hour weeks. Those are quotes from him. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that's from him.
Right.
I don't see how he's going to be able to get where he wants to go with and be able to treat people like they work for Tesla. This is not Tesla. You might not like the woke agenda that Twitter had, but you damn well better be ready to embrace the people that were there that were actually good and had the ability to discern between what was an agenda and what is just putting out a good product. Right now, they fumbled out of the gate, and this Twitter verification thing is bad. It is not working.
No, it is. It's a major fumble fuck. So, all right, scenario time. All right, let's Whiskey Hell is gonna tell the future. No, not tell the future. We're just gonna talk about possibilities in the future. So, what happens if this cascade of failures continues with Twitter, and Twitter just fails completely? It just goes away as a company. People flee it in droves, and it just becomes nothing. Do we have a huge void that will be filled like okay, MySpace went away, so then Facebook came in and filled that void? Or is everyone going to say, well, that was a failed experiment, on to the next thing, and the Twitter platform and anything like it, Getter and all these other posers, are all just going to go away?
I think that's a really, really important question. Social media, it's already proven that it works. It's scary, and there's a lot of issues with it. But it's proven that people do like being able to communicate lightning fast 24/7. So I think there is going to be a void. What it ends up evolving into, I don't know. I think you go through this phase where you've got this MySpace Tumblr phase. You've got this, Facebook is a clusterfuck too. I mean, it's melting down.
Oh yeah.
It's even in worse shape than Twitter is.
It's terrible. Yep.
So I think you're going to have this void. Well, this reset, we'll say, where there's going to be something else that's going to go ahead and pop in. And it's going to be the next big thing. There's a lot of other social media platforms, but none of them are as engaging as Twitter. They really aren't. I mean, I hate to say it, but Twitter did a lot of things right.
Yeah. It
was just so poorly managed and allowed to be driving an agenda versus being the tool that drives agendas. That's where it got bastardized. If it ever got back to being just the core of, we're just a tool, now you all use it.
Yeah.
Then it would be okay. But it's got a lot of growing pains to go through. It's gonna be difficult for a lot of folks.
Yeah, I agree. And it's, I think some folks that had sort of carte blanche to say whatever they wanted to say because they were part of the approved culture, right? Now people are going to be like, what the fuck are you saying? That's insanity. You're not allowed to say that, whether it's, well, I'm not going to go into examples, but they're gonna, and they used to be able to say whatever they wanted and everyone would clap, little golf clap and approving. That's gonna all be gone. So that part of it I love about the new Twitter. What sucks is that now anybody can say anything, and that has negative repercussions too. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't know where this is gonna go. You know what's weird? I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine, and I actually felt more sure about where I thought things were going with the world. Back in May, June, we were finding so much out about all the lies that had been told to us, and then the truth about those lies, and then what the agenda really was, or at least what we thought it was. I don't know anymore, dude. I really, all bets are off. If you told me that by March the economy was going to be fully in full swing mode back up and we were strengthening as a country, I think I would have to believe you. Likewise, if you told me that in March the economy was going to be in the worst recession in 100 years since the 30s, so 90 years, and that over half the population was unemployed, I would also believe that. I don't know where we're going. I don't know who's in control anymore, because it feels like everybody's vying for control and they're using all the tools at their disposal, and there's just, it's only lies out there. And so you have to pick and choose what's behind each of the lies. And I'm getting confused about it all, because it's so fast, so hot, so heavy. You almost, I have found myself more often than not just tuning out over the past probably 3 weeks, where I'm just like, man, I don't know what to believe anymore about the war in Ukraine, about the economy, about the elections, about the WEF and you'll own nothing and you'll like it. I don't know, dude. I don't know. And so this show is just valuable. Even if nobody was listening to us, this show is valuable to me to just be able to sort of sift through the news and be able to bounce things off of you and Hefe and get another person's perspective on things, because my God, we're in turmoil. Everywhere you look, everything's in turmoil, including Twitter.
Every week, one of the things that we come back with is that we're not trying to drive an agenda. We just want you to think. That's all we want. Think whatever you want, and you know what, and fight with us, debate us, reach out to us on Flipboard, on Twitter, and slap us around if you want. Have the debate. Have a debate with your friends. Have the debate with your parents. Have the debate with your kids. Whatever you want to do, have the debate though. That is the important part. Try and stay engaged. Fitz.
Yep.
It is hard. It is so hard. I have gone sifting through news, and you've seen all the shit that I put on the Flipboard and everything that I put onto into our chat, and you're constantly throwing stuff out there, and it's really hard. It's really hard to not stay focused. We're talking about your gigantic dick, Hefe, and how it's really important to focus on it.
Yeah. You got to keep two eyes on that thing.
Yeah, and two hands, am I right?
At least. It's like a fire hose.
Hey, all right.
Finish what you were saying, McShane, real quick. It's an important point to make.
I guess my point is that have the conversation and think things through. Don't give up.
Yeah.
We can't do that. The only way we stay sane is to try and continue to think things through, and we're going to be better for it. We're going to be more prepared. It's going to be okay when we get to the end of wherever the end actually is, and if things suck, well, we're way more aware of things, and that's what's really truly the important thing to do. So,
yep, agreed. Well said.
All right. So, my question to you guys is, Hefe, since you're here, would you ever encase any of your exes in an adult toy to use? It could be a butt plug. It could be maybe one of the male masturbators that you've used in the past.
Would you put any of your ex's ashes inside of a sex toy that you use?
No. I mean, to me, it just seems like it's more of a I mean, she doesn't get like sexual pleasure knowing that her ex is in there, right? It's more of a.
Oh, I think she does.
Oh, I think so too. She said
it's not because of him, though.
Oh,
right?
I think there's an added kink to it.
Yeah, I was gonna say women are much more in their own headspace about sex. I mean, we're like about what we see and smell and taste, and they're about like the mood of it and the ambiance and the feeling they get from being in that particular moment with that person. So I definitely think she had a little bit of a kink with this.
Well, yeah, I guess, but I mean, where I'm coming from is just that it would have to be more of a not like an ex. It would have to be like someone, that I really cared about and still do, and like not an ex-wife, but a wife that died or a girlfriend that passed away.
What about Jenna Jameson?
If she died?
Yeah, and she put her ashes in a sex toy for you.
Wouldn't do anything for me.
Huh.
All right. So let me go ahead and I don't want to bear the lead here. An Australian woman has gone viral on TikTok after getting caught at the airport with a sex toy containing her boyfriend's ashes, saying it was his favorite place. Sarah Button, and just Google Sarah Button on TikTok, and you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yep.
23 recently shared her unusual experience on the social media platform, where the video has racked up over 4.9 million views, leaving users stunned. The sex toy in question was a butt plug from her late boyfriend, which the law student claims to have worn while going through security in the United Arab Emirates, allegedly causing issues with staff. I explained what it was, but there was a lady worker in earshot of the conversation, which led to some back and forth between us, and the male officials did not like the vulgarity I was using to explain. Sarah told Need to Know Online. They took me and my friend aside without much explanation. Sarah claims airport security then confiscated the group's passports and phones, and she was forced to call her dad to ring the Australian embassy for help. An hour later, a big official came and used us and had us sign a super long foreign document and said if we went outside of the airport doors, we'd go to jail. It was a long day. All because of a butt plug with her ex-boyfriend's ashes in it.
I'm kind of gonna go with the Brittany Griner argument here, which is, if you're gonna go to another country, and I mean, you have to respect their values and their customs. You can't just pretend that the laws or the culture that you came from is. I mean, these people are not going to have a sense of humor about sex toys. It's an Arab country. They are very, very conservative sexually, very conservative. I mean, you can't. It would just be like one of them coming over here and yelling, Allah Akbar. Like, you can do that over there in their countries, and that means something. But you do that in say JFK airport, you're gonna be pulled aside and at least questioned, and probably not allowed to leave the airport and be sent home.
So are butt plugs illegal in the UAE?
I don't think it's the butt plugs so much, and maybe they are. I don't know. I'm not familiar with their laws. Maybe they are illegal, but it's not even so much the butt plug. It's the fact that she was very openly and very maybe even crassly talking about it, and that was offensive to their very conservative views. And so you're going to get pulled over.
Sorry, go ahead.
You're going to get pulled over if you start talking that way in a foreign country where their values are much more conservative than yours.
I find it fascinating and totally ridiculously shut off, even in 2022. And I get that that's the culture. I totally get it. But that just seems so overdone. I mean, did you really accomplish anything with that? I don't want. Okay, I travel with adult toys.
In the U.S.
necessarily in the U.S. Well, I took them outside of the country too. I took them to Turks and Caicos.
Okay, but that's also a very Western culture.
It truly it is.
You cannot overestimate the conservatism in Arab countries. You cannot. I mean, I'm telling you, the people have been sent back home for a T-shirt they were wearing because something was considered vulgar on the T-shirt. It's just clothes here, but there it's like offensive, and it could disrupt their way of life. So the fuck you go, get out.
All she talks about is taking it in the butt on her whole Twitter. That's all it is. It's just like, everything is backdoor, 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 backdoor. Look at her. I love her. And she's not my typical type, but I would love her in many, many ways. Sorry, somebody else take over.
I'm not big on anal, personally.
All right. Sorry.
No, she is really cute though.
She truly is. Fitz, you're absolutely right, and I'm not discounting it. I mean, you've got to play by the rules wherever you're going. I still think it's shitty, but that's just my own opinion.
Oh, it's totally shitty. I'm
not going to the Middle East anytime soon either, though. So.
No, yeah, I wouldn't either. Particularly with any sort of accoutrement near or around my private parts. Hey, and speaking of Brittany Griner, didn't she go to? She's in a gulag right now, isn't she?
She is in a gulag. Yes.
Yeah.
She is like totally done.
Oh God, she fucked around and she is finding out.
Yes, she is.
In a bad way. You know, the good thing is she's an athlete, so she's going to be already preconditioned to that kind of work environment. She's probably going to outwork anybody around her, actually, which is going to be great for her. Maybe she'll get an extra breadstick or something at the end of the day. I don't know.
Nice.
Hey, let's go ahead and kick it out to JetBlue, can we?
Oh yeah. This is a great story.
I would say, man, you couldn't wait. Like, seriously.
And that's coming from a defense attorney. But seriously, the flight is not even 2 hours. But for one passenger, a local man, he couldn't wait to masturbate, allegedly.
There was chatter what had happened when we were on the plane, and the talk was that he had exposed himself. And now find out that it was a little more than that.
It just so happens by coincidence, one of Fox 2's own, Chris Farina, was on board that flight.
Not something that you expect, flying home.
Our colleague Chris, who works in the newsroom, was coming home from New York City late Monday night when it all went down.
3 Metro Airport police officers boarded the plane, and within seconds they were escorting a guy off the plane.
A spokesperson with JetBlue tells us crew members were notified about a man exposing himself, and it looked like he was also touching himself, to the point where his neighbors seated next to him were moved. And Detroit Metro Airport police were notified, making the arrest at touchdown. He was ticketed a federal crime, misdemeanor for disorderly conduct. It sounds like he got off easy.
That's true. He did get off pretty easy.
Defense attorney Dennis Whitey says if he would have been back down to earth when this happened, the punishment would have likely been a lot tougher. What would your defense be in this situation?
Well, I would want to make sure, A, this actually happened. This isn't one person's word against the other. That'd be the first thing. My defense would probably be looking at his mental health and what would cause someone to do something so egregious on an airplane.
Reporting at Detroit Metro Airport, Jessica Dupnack, Fox 2 News.
Well, it's Detroit.
It is Detroit. I mean, there were so many fucking innuendos in that one little 2-minute segment.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude was coming home.
As it were.
my God, I couldn't help but laugh as that was going. I mean, yeah, come on. It's a 2-hour flight. Even if it was a 5-hour flight, you can't contain yourself. I mean, I have sat next to some very attractive women in my all my flying. And at no point did it even enter my mind that it would be possibly okay for me to masturbate to that person. And I'm not saying that's why he did it. I'm just saying, like, even when there's motivation around, you have the self-control. We're not fucking animals here. You have the self-control.
We shouldn't be.
Right. I mean, you've seen the gorillas in the fucking zoo and they just jack off on the glass. That's we should be above that. And this fucking animal is on an airplane touching himself. Come on, dude. Really? That's sad.
Hefe, your thoughts?
I did that once.
Jacked off on the glass or jacked off on an airplane?
Didn't like completely, but started to. I was like, I don't know, 13.
So you just went for it.
Didn't really know any better. But the woman sitting next to me was like a nurse. She looked super hot. So I just kind of started to, but I didn't, full on expose myself. It was under a blanket and stuff like that.
So you didn't pull it out and like
no
show her and all right. Well, at least you were trying to conceal it.
Yeah.
That could be like rubbing, right? I mean,
yeah, just kind of adjusting repeatedly
over and over again.
I think at 13 years old you could just say it was like, a puberty massage, right?
Yeah, right.
So hey, did you talk to her about her job? Like was she wearing scrubs or no?
No, I never looked in her eyes at all. Never looked at her. Nope. I gotta go deal some crap. So
usually
not even look that could have been a dude.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
You look deep in her soul and start stroking it.
Yeah. I gotta go though. I gotta go deal some craps.
All right, man.
All right.
Until next time. Later.
Everything was okay until he said, "Yeah, I did that." I
did not expect that. I mean, I guess I kind of did. I mean, you know who Hefe is. But again, a 13-year-old versus this grown ass man, very different.
That's this guy's just a pervert.
Yeah.
I like to fancy myself as a somewhat adventuresome type.
Oh, me too.
I've never thought, hey, let's jack off on a plane and just pull it out and go to town. Especially if there's somebody sitting next to me, I would never have done that.
No, and I mean, I don't even PDA in general for me is tough. I don't even like to make out with my significant other in public. There's no need for it. In the privacy of my bedroom, absolutely, I'm going to get my kink on. But in public, I don't want to see it from other people. So why would I assume they want to see it from me? I don't have that voyeuristic part of me at all. In fact, if someone was watching me, I don't think I'd be able to stay hard. I just really don't. It's always been my major concern if I ever found myself in a threesome scenario. Like, I would have to put myself in a different mindset that the second girl wasn't just watching me fuck the other girl. Because if she was just watching, I might not be able to keep going. She'd have to be an active participant on some level.
Tap her in.
Smack
get over here.
Smack my ass or like do something to her while I'm doing something to her.
Yeah.
But don't just sit there and watch because I'm done.
I am not a monkey in a cage.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. To me, this seems very, very primal that this guy couldn't hold it for that long. And so does this guy get flagged? Like he's not allowed to fly anymore? Or, I mean, they said it's a misdemeanor.
So.
Yeah.
See, I would think you would. I would think you would get put on the no-fly list, but it is only a misdemeanor, right? But I don't know why he's not a sex offender now. Because you're a sex offender if you do anything else, right?
Exactly what I was thinking. You're telling me there weren't kids on that plane?
Kids on a plane, women on a plane. I mean, it pretty much screams I'm a sex offender. So,
I mean,
I don't know why you wouldn't get that.
Yeah, these days, anybody on that plane could be identifying as a woman or a child or whatever. So he definitely should be a sex offender.
That's true. And that's very true. And speaking of nurses, did you see the article where this Wisconsin nurse accused of amputating a patient's foot in order to display it at her family's taxidermy shop?
I did see it, and I'm not even sure we need to go past the headline, dude, because the more you read this article, the more fucked up it gets.
How do we get there? How?
That was my question. I mean, she's a nurse. So how does she make the decision that this 62-year-old's foot is going to be amputated? That should be the doctor's. Well, first of all, it should be the patient's decision. And then the patient should okay it and say, yes, you've put a black X on that foot. That's the one I want amputated. And then the doctor should be like, okay, are you sure this is the one that you want me to take off? And then the patient should go, at no point is there like the nurse involved in that conversation at all. But somehow this nurse got a 62-year-old's foot amputated because she wanted, as you read in the headline, she wanted to display it at her family's taxidermy shop. Taxidermy.
It's bizarre. So there's a Washington Post article you guys can get to if you guys have the subscription to it. Otherwise, it's paywalled. So sorry about that. But the link on the show notes is going to be allthat'sinteresting.com. A criminal complaint recently filed in Spring Valley, Wisconsin, accuses a 38-year-old nurse of amputating the foot of a 62-year-old patient against his will and against a doctor's orders. As for why she wanted to cut off the patient's foot, the Washington Post reports, Mary Brown allegedly told co-workers that her family owned a taxidermy shop and she wanted to put the appendage on display.
Yeah, read the next sentence. This is fucked up.
According to her colleagues, Brown planned to put a sign next to the severed frostbitten foot that read, "Wear your boots, kids."
What the fuck? So it was a frostbitten foot.
It was a frostbitten foot, but that doesn't mean that you've got to amputate the foot.
The whole thing, right, exactly.
It just means you might be losing some toes. You might not lose anything depending on how bad the frostbite is. And it's 2022. We can recover since then. It's just a long road. On November 3rd, 2022, Brown was charged with 2 felonies. One for mayhem, which if you're going to be charged with a felony, mayhem is the way to go.
That's on my bucket list. I want to be charged for mayhem at some point.
We need to look up like what constitutes mayhem as a felony. Like what do I have to do to get a mayhem? Because if it's not that bad, that might be worth it,
dude. And I just love saying the word. Like
mayhem's fantastic.
Mayhem, yeah. Like what were you arrested for? Oh, mayhem. Oh, tell me more.
Well, remember mayhem? What was it? We had a podcast and website. Something Mayhem.
Well, there was Project Mayhem from Fight Club.
No, there was. But back when we were hanging out with our buddy Todd, my buddy Todd.
Yep.
Something Mayhem was one of our. I have art someplace about it. Anyway,
yeah,
it doesn't matter.
I remember that.
So mayhem's a fantastic word, regardless of you're taking people's feet off. According to her colleagues, Brown planned to put the sign next to the severed frostbitten foot with foot that read, "Wear your boots, kids." On November 3rd, Brown was charged with 2 felonies, one for mayhem and the other for intentionally causing great bodily harm to an elderly person. If convicted, Brown faces up to 92 years in prison. The patient was admitted to the Spring Valley Health and Rehabilitation Center in March 2022. After suffering severe frostbite on both feet, which several employees described as looking black like a mummy.
Ugh.
But as the man spent more time in the nursing home, it reportedly became clear to workers that frostbite was not the only health issue plaguing their patient. According to an affidavit, they felt his death was imminent. Then in May, the man rolled out of bed and further mangled his already damaged right foot. Spring Valley's doctor of nursing and clinical services, Tracy Reitz, attended to the man, whom she described as slightly coherent, as he apologized to her for the smell coming from his foot. So this dude is
like
fucked up.
Like I said, the more you read this article, the worse it gets. This thing is just like this downward spiral. First of all, you know, I woke up this morning, McShane. I woke up and I was virtually pain-free. I had some dental surgery, right? So I my mouth was a little sore, but basically all of my parts are functioning. I could get up, I could walk, I could go eat my breakfast, I could brush my teeth, I could take a piss, I could do all the things necessary to maintain this body. Then you read this article and you're like, Jesus Christ, there are people whose flesh is literally rotting off their feet, who can't even get out of bed. They mangle their ankle just trying to walk. That's my worst nightmare, dude. I don't want to be 90 and in this dude's position. This guy's only 62. I know 62-year-olds that are running marathons.
I don't want to be 62 and be in a home with some chick that says, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and take off your leg.
Yeah. That foot's mine. I'm going to put it in my family's taxidermy shop. What the fuck? God. Yeah, that whole story is just a nightmare. And I mean, for the rest of you who want to read the rest of it, it goes on to, I mean, it doesn't get any better from where McShane stopped.
It's fucking terrible.
It's just a nightmare. And I don't wish ill will on anybody, but I hope that nurse goes away for a long time. You're there to help. You're there. I mean, you're there to be a force of good, help him heal.
Not to be whatever the fuck that was.
Not to be the grim fucking foot possessor.
That's straight out of a Stephen King book.
Oh, it totally is. That's exactly what I pictured was Kathy Bates with the fucking sledgehammer. Oh, you know what they used to do? They used to hobble people. Do you know what hobbling is? Oh my God. Like, no, let's not just stop. Record scratch, stop.
All right. We are winding up the show, but before we do, we want to get to some cool shit and then the final beers.
Yep.
Take a minute, listen to our sponsors, and we will be right back with you. All right, Fitz, you had some cool shit that you found before the show started. We both were kind of scrambling for some stuff, and just because I don't, like we said earlier, this was just a tough week. But we did scramble. We got some good stuff. So what was your cool shit?
You know what? I'm going to do a two-parter real quick.
Yeah.
Because I did want to get to that climate article, and I swear I'm going to take 2 minutes, and then I'll be done with it.
Okay.
Because what I want is for our listeners to go out and look up this article so you can read it for yourselves. Kind of what you said earlier. You read this thing and your brain just goes numb because it's a lot of. This is from Science Advances magazine, which is a peer-reviewed science magazine. I try and check it out at least once every couple of weeks because there's this is where all the true scientists are going and really doing some amazing work. But this one is the headline is Climate Models Fail to Capture Strengthening Wintertime North Atlantic Jet and Impacts on Europe. So basically, and I'll make this so that junior high kids could understand it. The jet stream, jet stream runs all the way around the world. They call it the jet stream because it's if the jets get up in there, they run much more efficiently because this wind is whipping through it anywhere from 180 to 400 miles an hour, and that's kind of at speeds we can't really even comprehend. But this thing is just whipping shit all around our planet. The jet stream controls most of the weather on our planet, and it runs from west to east. And our jet stream, therefore, from North America ends up in Europe. And if there's a big dip in that jet stream, like we've had several times, we'll get those, the Arctic blast that comes down, and the jet stream will actually pull all that Arctic air down from the North Pole and we get a really cold, Atlanta, it'll be snowing and ice storms. And in Europe is the same thing. And what they've failed to grasp here in this, so in the article, they basically say, okay, one of two things has happened. Either we've underestimated the effect that human pollution is doing to carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which I will tell you can't be the problem, because they've only, if anything, they've overestimated how much humans are affecting the carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere. So it can't be that. And so then their only other possible explanation is that there's some other unknown force at work. Well, I'm going to tell you what the unknown force is. And it's not unknown. It's just they're underestimating the power of the sun. And the sun is in a really inactive time right now. The more active the sun gets, the more violent the jet stream gets. Well, it's in an inactive time, and yet we still have this violent jet stream. So you think, well, how is that? The piece that they're missing there is that the Earth's magnetic field is weakening, and that's well documented. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's actually happening.
We've talked about that. We've talked about it several times. Yeah.
So the Earth's magnetic field is weakening, which means more of the sun's energy, by a factor of 50, more of the sun's energy is getting in and affecting the jet stream and making it do crazy shit that they've not seen before, because the last time it did it, we didn't have the technology to even know what was happening. So that's what's happening in this article. As many of you that are interested, please go out and read the article. And you'll get to the point in the article where they say, we don't really know what's going on. I'm telling you right now that the one point they're leaving out that they don't talk about in the whole article is the fact that the Earth's magnetic field is weakening, and that's going to affect the jet stream. So there's that article. And by the way, it's going to lead to some really crazy weather here in the next 6 months for sure. But watch for 2023. There's going to be some weird shit happening both in Europe, but in North America too. We're going to see some weird stuff. So buckle your seatbelts for that. So my other true cool shit was that the Great Barrier Reef, and this is kind of related, so I'm glad I'm talking about both of these stories at the same time. They did a study, and the Great Barrier Reef has more coral, as in terms of square mileage, more coral, healthy living coral. It has more coverage on it than any time since they've measured it in the 38 years that they've really been measuring how big the Great Barrier Reef is. They've never seen this much healthy living coral ever. So again, one thing that a lot of, climatologists and global warming people like to point to is the Great Barrier Reef is dying. It's actually not. It's thriving, and it's never been more healthy, at least not since we've been measuring it. So it's made a huge comeback. It was dying off in the 70s and 80s, and there was a concern. Well, whatever was happening is gone. So it's clearly not the carbon that we're putting into the atmosphere like they said it was, because we're only putting more carbon in the atmosphere, and the Great Barrier Reef is thriving. So that's my cool shit for the week, because that is a huge ecosystem and a huge life-giving force on the planet. And I just think it's really cool that it's coming back and coming back in a big way. So I wanted to mention that and talk about it. And it's just not something a lot of people know, because all you get in the mainstream media is that the Great Barrier Reef is going to be dead in 5 years. And actually it's never been stronger. So that's what I got. What about you, McShane? What are you talking about this week?
So I'm going to parallel what you just had. And really the narrative here for us anyway is that people don't want to talk about the stuff that's actually good.
Yeah.
It's easy to believe life on Earth is getting ever worse. The media constantly highlighting one catastrophe and after another and making terrifying predictions with a never-ending torrent of doom and gloom about climate change and the environment. It's understandable why many people, especially the young, genuinely believe the world is about to end. But the fact is that though problems remain, the world is getting better. This is a financialpost.com article. You guys can check out show notes for it.
Yeah.
But in this same article was the Great Barrier Reef, We're incessantly told about disasters, whether it is the latest heat wave, flood, wildfire, or storm, yet the data overwhelmingly show that over the past century, people have become much, much safer from all the weather events. In 1920s, around 500,000 people were killed by weather disasters. Weather, as in the last decade, the death toll averaged around 18,000. This year, like both 2020 and 2021, is tracking below that. Why? Because when people get richer, they get more resilient. Polar bears are making a comeback.
Yeah.
A decade ago, environmentalists loudly declared that Australia's magnificent Great Barrier Reef was nearly dead. Killed by bleaching caused by climate change, the Guardian newspaper even published an obituary. This year, scientists revealed that 2/3 of the Great Barrier Reef shows the highest coral cover since records began in 1985. Not long ago, environmentalists consistently used pictures of polar bears to highlight the dangers of climate change. Polar bears even featured in Al Gore's terrifying movie, An Inconvenient Truth. But the reality is that polar bear numbers have been increasing. From somewhere between 5 and 10,000 polar bears in the 1960s up to around 26,000 today. We don't hear this news, however. Instead, campaigners just quietly stopped using polar bears in their activism. And I haven't seen a Coca-Cola commercial with a polar bear in quite some time.
Right? No, I really appreciated when you sent this article. I think it was like right after we did the show last week. I mean, it was pretty early, in the week this week. And I mean, it's so true. It is easy to get caught up in the negativity of everything. I mean, even with the elections, I got caught up in the negativity of the elections and just thinking the worst of everything. But really, on the whole, and so I think, one thing as Whiskey Hell, that I will just speak for Whiskey Hell, not just Fitz, but Whiskey Hell is a show. There is a lot of positive going on out there, and the things that people are doing to change their habits and make a cleaner, greener earth, those are good things. We talked about the snow crab population and how it was devastated, and they canceled the snow crab season this season. And I actually just talked to somebody, long story, but I talked to somebody who is part of the Labor Commission up in Alaska, because they're going to be putting our program in one of their programs. And she said they've got about anywhere from 5,600 to 6,000 workers who are just completely unemployed this winter because the crab season's gone. I mean, it's a huge economical impact. And so there's a bunch of scientists going out there trying to figure out what happened, because they know, just like we know, it's not because warming waters killed all the crabs. It's because something else invaded, and they want to find out so they can stop it from happening again. And we just keep, not covering up, but discovering our problems, fixing them, and then we're making a better world. We really are. And we lose sight of that sometimes. And I say me personally, I lose sight of that sometimes. And so this article was a really good reminder that there are some good things going on out there. And our earth, listen, if it wants to sneeze and just get rid of all of us, we're gone. We're just a small little bacteria on its back, and it'll shed us anytime it wants. We way overinflate our importance on this planet. But it is healing itself. It's recovering. Things are changing, yes, but it's not the end all be all as far as the earth is concerned. The one thing that is a concern is the weakening magnetic field, but that's a whole different story for a whole different show. So, but the earth's going to be just fine, guys. We're nothing to the earth. And I'm not sure we want to end the show on that, but
everything,
yeah,
everything doesn't suck.
Right.
Remember that we're dealing with narratives. Remember, we're dealing with something that's driving that narrative. Remember that somebody's got an agenda and somebody paid for whatever information that's being put out there. So go do your own research.
Yep.
Dive in. Don't put a whole lot of stock in any one group, any one agency, any one channel on TV, any one site online. Don't do it. Fitz, what beer are you taking to bed?
You know, that's a tough one. There were parts of both of these beers that I loved and parts of both of these beers that I didn't love. I think probably at the end of the night here, I'm going to go ahead and take the cranberry orange to bed. It was a much cleaner finish. I didn't feel like I had to chew my way through it. And it was kind of, it was really just crisp and refreshing. The other one was kind of it wasn't easy to get through. So I'm definitely taking the cranberry orange to bed, although I'm excited that I have a 4-pack of the other one, and that I get to try the other one again tomorrow. And now I know what to expect. So we'll see if that apple pumpkin pie one doesn't improve on me or grow on me a little bit. So how about you? Which one are you taking to bed?
I'm going to go with Cake Eater.
Yeah.
I wasn't, Shot in the Arm was good, but it was not, it was a little too docile for an Imperial Stout, especially when it's barrel aged. I wanted a little more heat. This one, Cake Eater, it was fun because you had the heat, and then it was also, it kept the German chocolate cake texture and the sweetness and all the other elements that kind of make up a good German chocolate cake. It held on to that without going into a total stout or in something that's total boozy. So I enjoyed that one a lot more.
Hey, next week I am actually in San Francisco for a martial arts weekend, so we will have to figure out another day to record. So just keep that on your maps, listeners, that the show may either be coming out much earlier or much later than usual. McShane and I still have to discuss that and figure it out, but we might be a little bit off next week, but don't worry, we're still going to put out a show, and it's still going to be exactly what you expect from Whiskey Hill. So we hope all of you have a fantastic week, and find some good beer and drink it.
I'm Steve McShane.
I'm Fitz.
We'll talk to you soon.
That will do it for this week's show. Shocking how long they last each week. Remember to leave a review, and thanks for listening.